Are you wanting to backpack Brazil soon and possibly solo? Then you've come to the right place. Hi, my name is Mackenzie Nelson. I am the owner of this channel, Macpacking, and welcome to my video. I just backpacked Brazil for the past 2 months alongside other countries in South America, but Brazil is such a beautiful country full of beaches, jungle, city life, parties. Oh my gosh, you name it, the culture is there. I'm going to break this video up into a few parts, so if you want to skip through some chapters, go for it. We're going to go over the route, hostels, safety tips, budget and logistics, and what I wish I knew, and then we'll wrap it up with our final thoughts of Brazil. Just a bit of a disclaimer before we get started. This is not a tourist guide. This is for real backpackers, possibly solo, possibly female, that want to see real life Brazil and really experience the culture while doing it on a budget. First off, Brazil is massive. You got the Amazon, colonial towns, beaches that look like postcards, samba and street parties, and some of the most welcoming people I've ever met. It's not your average tourist destination. It's got grit and heart, but that also means it's not the easiest to backpack, which is why I'm making this video. I'm going to run through the route that I did. I was doing a ton of research before I went to see what kind of routes are out there, what people, backpackers, are doing, and I couldn't find anything. So this is a route that I ended up with. I really enjoyed it. I would suggest it to anybody else, but obviously fix it up if you want to add in or take away some places. Florianopolis. I would start here. It's also called Floripa. It's an island just off the coast, so you could easily access it. There are so many beaches to go to in Florianopolis, and so many hikes that I didn't even get a chance to go to on top of rocks or through waterfalls. If you got some time, I recommend checking out some different parts of the island because I underestimated just how big it is. Next up is Sao Paulo. You could also start here. There's usually cheap flights to Sao Paulo, it being one of the biggest cities in Brazil. It's quite chaotic, but full of culture. There's lots of museums to see, markets to visit, and lots of nightlife. Then I made my way to Ubatuba, which is a coastal town. Very chill beach vibe here. This is a great way to slow down, as well as Paraty. I also ended up here, and very similar to Ubatuba, just super chill, lovely place to just like chill and relax. It was raining when I was there, but it did not disappoint. And of course, Rio de Janeiro, the big one. And Rio truly has it all. The beaches, hikes, favelas, chaos, beauty, samba, carnival. I'm going to make a whole different video off of Rio de Janeiro alone because we need to dive deep into this one. From Rio de Janeiro, I took a flight up north to Salvador. Salvador is a perfect mix of Afro-Brazilian culture, music, food. Oh, there's so much food to try here. Probably one of the biggest cultural highlights of Brazil. I didn't feel totally safe solo in Salvador, so take that as you wish, but it is such a beautiful city and I wish that more can see it. Next up is if you want to visit the Amazon in Brazil, which I did not do, but I did a lot of research on it, so I thought that I would share that with you. You would fly into Pantanal to access the Amazon in Brazil. If you want wildlife, this is your shot. Jaguars, capybaras, insane landscapes. I visited the Amazon in Ecuador and it was unforgettable, so definitely check out the Amazon if you're in that section of the world. Lastly, on the route for Brazil that I'm going to suggest is Iguazu Falls, which I actually went to after Buenos Aires, so I'm also going to add it to my Argentina top tips video. But I thought I would share it here as well because it is such a place to see. Oh my gosh, it was just like the most insane natural wonder I have ever been to. Yes, it's a little touristy, but totally worth it. You could truly travel Brazil in so many different ways. If you're wanting to backpack it, I would suggest going a little bit slower and really seeing each of these different places, as it does take a while to get in between the places. I took a lot of overnight buses, but if you don't have that much time, you could just go to like the coastal colonial towns near Rio de Janeiro and also Rio. And you could also just spend 2 weeks in Florianopolis. Like, why not? Hostels in Brazil are hit or miss. Ironically, I didn't like any of the hostels that I stayed in, so let me save you some time. I can't remember the name right now, but I stayed at a hostel in Florianopolis that I really liked. I thought that the location was super great, having access to so many different beaches, but as well as the big lagoa in the middle of the island. Lagoa is a lake, by the way. So I definitely recommend this hostel. In Paraty, I didn't get up too much, and I kind of wish that I was in a more social spot, so I searched out the best social spot that doesn't seem like too much of a party place, which is Che Lagarto in Paraty. In Rio, I visited quite a few hostels as I was kind of hopping around the entire city for like the 4 weeks I was there. I was volunteering in one, but I don't want to suggest that one because it had bad mold. But my research on Rio told me that Discovery Hostel in Gloria seems like the place to be. But there are so many different neighborhoods in Rio too to stay in, so again, if you have time, try to hop around to the different neighborhoods, and that way you can get a real feel for the city. But again, we'll get back into all of Rio in all its glory in a separate video. And in Salvador, that was kind of one of the hardest places to find a hostel. I would suggest going to Nega Maluca, which has a bit more of a homey vibe, not super party heavy, felt very safe and local. Those are just a few of the hostels that I could recommend based off my research and seeing them for myself. The next big tip that I wanted to address in this video is safety. Real talk, Brazil gets a really bad rep for safety. And yeah, there are a lot of places that you need to be careful, but if you're smart about it and you watch out for your own back, you'll be fine. There are 5 tips in this safety category that I want to mention. Tip number 1, don't flash your phone or anything flashy like a camera, nothing. Don't flash it around, especially when you're at like a party or like nightlife. And around this tip, also be careful of your bag. Try to have one that's in front of you or that locks. They're very good at pickpocketing, so be careful. Number 2 is use Uber. Even if it's for short distances, I found that this is like the safest way of getting around. I did take metros in Rio and felt completely fine, but I would do it in the middle of the day when there was many people also taking the metro. Number 3, stay in hostels with good reviews. I told you I had kind of a few bad hostels. If something feels off, just switch a hostel. It's okay, it's not the end of the world. It'll actually make your trip better if you switch hostels. Tip number 4 is learn a bit of Portuguese while you're there. Even just a little bit goes a long way, because I found that a lot of Brazilians don't speak like any degree of English. Like hello was just about it. And I think people really appreciate when you try. Very hard language, but I tried to use Duolingo for a few weeks before I went to Brazil, and I found that it kind of helped. I also know a little bit of Spanish, or have been familiar with Spanish, so that also helped Portuguese because it's a little bit similar. And tip number 5, try to meet people. It is quite hard in Brazil to meet people that speak English. Like I said, even the travelers are Portuguese or Spanish speakers. But try to stay in social hostels, go on free walking tours, go on day trips, and really try your best to socialize. If anything, you could use Google Translate to make friends. I really don't want safety to be the big hindrance for you not going to Brazil. I really want you to experience Brazil in its fullest. But that being said, I don't think that Brazil is a very beginner place to backpack. I would definitely say it's more intermediate advanced, even if there are levels to that kind of thing. I don't know if there are. I have backpacked all across the world, and I would still say Brazil was a little daunting, but I can't wait to go back someday. Alright, on to the next topic is budget and logistics. I honestly went to Brazil thinking that it was going to be some cheap, very similar to Central American like country. I thought it was going to be very affordable to backpack, and it wasn't that cheap, okay? So I took like buses for like $40 each, like overnight buses from like Porto Alegre to Florianopolis and Florianopolis to Sao Paulo. Those overnight buses are quite expensive. But if you could space those out a bit, it'll even out your budget. Brazil can be very affordable, but it's not like Southeast Asia affordable. I spent around $30 to $40 a day, but I balanced that with being in big cities and small towns, and then going to the very non-touristy area like Salvador and non-touristy restaurant. And I also volunteered in that hostel in Rio a little bit, so that helped balance out my budget. Flights are sometimes cheaper than the buses, so make sure that you look into that. You could use Skyscanner or even look at the local airlines website. Kind of on the side of like safety as well as budget, getting a SIM card could really help you. In other parts of South America, I used to get a physical SIM card from Claro, which is a popular internet company in most of South America. But this time I use Airalo, I think is how you pronounce it. It's this app. It helps you get like eSIMs, but you have to make sure that your phone is paid off and unlocked for you to enable a eSIM. But it takes a click of a button to purchase, and then boom, it's in your phone. So I did this actually before I got to Brazil, and it helped me. As soon as I landed, I was able to use my phone. And as a solo traveler, you kind of need to be self-efficient in that way. Alright, before I wrap this up, I want to give a quick list of things that I wish I knew before I went to Brazil. Some of these might save you a headache or even a few bucks. ATMs could be kind of funky in Brazil. Not all the machines work with the international cards, even though your international card says that it's able to be used everywhere like mine is. But some banks or some ATMs have really low withdrawal rates. I would stick with the bigger companies like Santander and Banco do Brasil. Pack for different climates. Brazil isn't all sun and beaches. Some places could get really cold. I remember for the first week in Porto Alegre and Florianopolis, I was a bit chilly. As well as in the far north in Salvador, it was boiling hot. And I imagine that the Amazon would be really hot and humid too. So best rule of thumb here is just pack layers. And on that note, long distance buses, which you probably will be taking a few, blast the AC. Oh my gosh, they get so cold. I'm talking like Arctic tundra levels. It was freezing. Pack a hoodie, you'll thank me later. Another thing I wish I knew is that cash is king. There is like a pretty even divide of using credit cards in Brazil as well as cash. A lot of like street vendors, street food, like, you know, the people selling the caipirinhas on the beach take cash, and you're definitely going to want to hold on to some cash for those instances. But as well, a lot of restaurants, a lot of places take credit card, so you don't really have to stress out. You might have to miss out on a beach caipirinha, but you'll be able to use your credit card a lot of places too. But I would just suggest having some cash on you at all times. And the fifth thing that I wish I knew, which I kind of stuck to, is don't over plan. Brazil is huge. You'll meet people. They will tell you all this advice, all these places to go, and you're going to want to go there. So don't plan too far ahead. I usually don't really like to book hostels far in advance as well as bus tickets. If I can, I will rock up to the bus station and buy my ticket and get on the bus right then and there, because that's just the easiest way to go about it. Don't do that in Brazil. They sell out. I ran into that issue in Porto Alegre, so you might have to book your bus ticket maybe a day in advance in Brazil. But your hostels, you could book literally the night before you go to a new town. I'll talk about this in the Rio video, but also keep in mind Carnival season is very busy. So when you're going to Rio, maybe that's when you want to book in advance. But if you're not going to Carnival, maybe you don't have to worry about that. Just a few things that I wanted to mention to make your trip 10 times more smooth. Okay, now a few final thoughts. Brazil surprised me so much. It's definitely like a highlight destination for me. It was always top of my to-go list. It challenged me, don't get me wrong, but it also gave me some of the best travel moments I will ever have. If you're solo, you can do this. If you're female, you could definitely do this. And you really don't need a big budget for Brazil. You just need to stay smart, stay open, and trust the journey ahead. I'll be doing a full breakdown video of Rio de Janeiro, like I mentioned, diving into the hikes, the beaches, the different neighborhoods, the museums, Carnival, all the things that Rio has to offer. So make sure to subscribe if you want to see that video when that's posted. And thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you guys enjoy your trip in Brazil. Enjoy all of my Brazil series. I will have it linked down in the description. You can also check out my channel to see that whole series of me traveling Brazil solo. Toodaloo!